Oh, God. Oh, my God.
We're never doing a rock version of this.
No.
What would we call that, though?
Rock bottom. Considering how we feel about his acting, yeah.
You don't want to watch The Tooth Fairy?
Not really. I'd rather watch The Pacifier with Vin Diesel.
Yeah. Welcome back to Cage Match, a roundabout way of meeting Nicolas Cage. I am your host, Sean, here with my other host,
Nick. I'm Nick.
and our producer.
Peter, hello.
And this week we have a special guest back for the second time. Beer. Oh, also,
Adam, I brought the beer.
thank you, Adam.
Good job.
It's good to be back. Thank you for having me. You all know how much I love the National Treasure franchise.
I mean,
So
yeah.
I appreciate you indulging me on this.
Yeah, it's nice that you can actually talk about the first one now versus just talking about the sequel without a lot of context.
Yeah, so Peter, you watched these out of order.
Yeah.
Nothing. The second one couldn't have made sense to you.
Yeah, I
did it
managed to make
have
the
to?
leap. You know, I did some of that talk out loud brain thinking, and I put it together.
Ah, nice.
It's such a tight knit story, though.
Mm.
So this week we're talking about 2019's Primal and 2004's National Treasure.
That was 2004?
Yeah. Those were different times.
Simpler times.
I was forgetting what year I graduated high school versus college.
Yeah, you're not as old as you think you are.
I feel like I'm twice as old as I think I am.
Yeah, 100%. The difference between 19-year-old Sean and 38-year-old Sean is I'm worse at math.
Yeah, they don't have like annual refreshers for
No.
you once you get into the real world.
Yeah, so this is Cage Match, a roundabout way of meeting Nicolas Cage, where we bracket style take 64 Nic Cage movies and pit them head to head in 4 different categories: tough, funny, serious, and fucking weird.
Wacky.
And we are in
Tough guy.
This must be tough guy.
Yeah, this is
category
Action
right now.
Cage.
Yeah, action movies.
I don't think I realized that you'd made like
Oh yeah,
4
the regions.
Yeah, I think I missed that. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. It actually works out really nicely. So in the end, we'll funnel it down into 4 top from each of those. So that'll be kind of cool. These movies, it's a number 6 seed with National Treasure and a 11 with Primal.
Oh, perfect.
And I'm going to pretend like I understand what any of that means. National Treasure, 2004. Nicolas Cage plays
Benjamin Franklin Gates.
Benjamin Franklin Gates. Diane Kruger is Abigail Chase. Justin Bartha is Riley Poole. And Sean Bean plays Ian Howe. I always forget that John Voight's in these films, and it's still weird that he's in a movie about American conspiracies.
But going back to a previous episode, Sean, I'm sorry that Helen Mirren's tits weren't in this for you.
I mean, Helen Mirren's not even in this one. So.
It's a real loss that Helen Mirren isn't in this one.
You could always just Google her while you watch it. Probably did.
So, Adam, as our National Treasure expert, what's this movie about?
So my first time seeing this was with my parents and my brother and my younger sister. And it was fun. Like it is a fun movie. It's probably more fun 20 years ago than it is now.
Our relationship with America is a bit different now.
There's that. Also, I had very little expectation of this movie. Seeing it for the first time, I was 20 years old. And it wasn't like, oh, that changed me. Like, I'm going to go home and, like, listen to Kid A and do mushrooms. But
What else?
Do you guys want to listen to Kid A and do mushrooms?
it was just like,
Might as well.
it was so much better than you could have expected. 2004, Nic Cage might have only been really a big deal for maybe 10 years at that point.
Yeah, it was definitely a different era, but he had come off of, I think Adaptation was one that came pretty shortly right before this.
Matchstick Men, adaptation, Lord of Wars right after this, then Weatherman.
Like-
I mean, this is kind of peak second wave Cage.
Right.
Ghost Rider's like 5 movies after this.
When was Army of One again?
The only movie that matters, I think 2016.
Perfect. So right between these 2 movies. Don't check the math on that. It's right in the middle.
We're not a math pod.
Nope.
I also thought the movie was pretty well produced, directed. Like the script wasn't that good. Okay, so we'll just jump in. It starts in, like, I don't remember, 1976, and he's a kid and he's in his grandfather's attic. And his grandfather's what's his name? Plumber, the like really
Mario?
What?
No, not Mark.
We're going to gloss over that.
Nope.
Christopher Plummer.
There you go. Thank you.
Oh.
So Hunter Gomez playing
Young Benjamin Franklin Gates.
Benjamin Franklin Gates is in the attic of his grandfather's house. This is like the first minute of the movie. Christopher Plummer comes up there and is like, there's a treasure that only our family knows about. And like he gets this clue of a treasure that's been fought over for like millennia at that point.
The Templar's treasure.
The Templar's treasure, and the Masons, the Freemasons, have gotten a hold of it and are moving it around to like fuck with the British
And to keep it safe.
and all they have is this one clue: the secret lies with Charlotte.
Yeah.
And that has been at that point, like leading up into the 70s, where we're in this attic now. So Ben Gates, played by our hero Nic Cage, he's like military and has like degrees in history and policy and all kinds of stuff, and he becomes this treasure hunter. Moving on into like the 7th minute of the movie, he's in what I think is the Arctic at that point with Sean Bean and some goons.
Well, and Justin
Riley.
Bartha, Riley.
Yeah, and Riley
Who
Poole.
is like
The best sidekick.
such a 90s kind of hacker character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This could have had a much more interesting opening scene if the first scene was just Ben Gates watching Indiana Jones.
So they're in these like weird snowcat machines and they can just cross the Arctic with no problem. And they have technology that definitely isn't real or didn't exist. And they can just be like, we're almost there if the coordinates are correct.
I mean, satellites existed in 2004.
Sure.
Yeah, I just
Sure.
really liked that one guy being like, how do we even know this is right? And then Riley says a bunch of things that don't mean anything and don't actually point to any like conclusions. And he's
Yeah.
just like, so, could be that. And it's like, you're an
But
idiot.
don't, and then he says like, but don't trust me. I broke a shoelace today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like,
That's
what? It's bad luck.
Fuck.
They end up finding their location with some metal detectors or some shit. And they dig up a whole ass ship
Named Charlotte.
named Charlotte.
After the spider.
And
Some pig.
That was actually the answer to the secret or the clue.
you guys brought me
Secret
over.
lies with Charlotte.
You guys brought me over here just to
Some
fuck with me,
pig.
didn't you? You're not gonna let me get through this at all.
This isn't even an actual recorded episode.
How deep does a metal detector detect?
Well, that's the thing.
Like a
is that
handheld.
that ship was only like 2 feet under the snow.
Yeah.
Somehow, it's been buried there for like 150 years.
Well,
But like Nic Cage dug it up using a bottle of water.
Second time he's used bottles of water in these
Yeah.
movies,
Yeah,
right?
that's how you find treasure. So they get in this ship and they think there's going to be a treasure, and instead they find a powder keg that has like some ancient pipe with an inscription that you have to apply ink, or in this case blood, to, so you can read it. That's one of my favorite scenes though, is he recognizes that like, oh, we have to like rub blood on this and roll it out onto a piece of parchment, and then he's reading it, and he does it. It's for anybody that got to listen to the episode with National Treasure 2, he does this sort of same thing where he's like that super Jeff Goldblum, like, what does it mean? It's the pen, the iron pen. That pen is iron. It's made of iron. No, it's not made of iron.
There's lead in the
It's
pencil.
there's lead in the pen. No, it's heavy. It's mineral. Oh God. And it was just so dumb that he was able to figure out that riddle
It's
In a-
iron. It's
in about-
ironclad.
in about 30 seconds of talking out loud of being wrong about everything.
I
and
mean,
then just knew after that.
To be fair, that's how every one of us has gotten through life.
Well,
Just talking and being wrong about everything until we say the right thing. That's just living.
One of the only fun facts that I found was, as he's doing that, one of the other guys is like, it's a prison. They're talking about a prison. And then
The iron
Riley,
pen.
Yeah, and then Riley just says, Albuquerque. Look, I can do it too. Snorkel.
Yeah.
And that's apparently a Weird Al reference.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah, he lost his lucky glow-in-the-dark autographed snorkel when he went to Albuquerque.
Hey, Weird Al, if you're listening,
Oh, he is.
we love you.
We were at your concert.
We were at your concert. It was
You
amazing.
played Albuquerque. It was a blast.
At this point, Sean Bean's angry that there's not a treasure on the ship, so he blows it up and tries to trap Nic Cage.
He doesn't
and
blow it up.
Riley Poole and well,
He said, well, it's his plan to steal the Declaration so Ben can figure out the map. The map is
that's
on
right.
the back of the Declaration.
Right. Yeah,
And that's when Sean Bean's like, I have other skills besides writing checks
Which I don't think he does. I think he just writes checks to people with.
with other
With
skills.
skills.
Because, yeah, the one time he physically tries to break into a place, they get arrested by like 90 cops who couldn't have been that well hidden.
He solved one part of one riddle once.
Yeah. He does the junior jumble.
The stealing of the Declaration, that sequence,
Oh, the heist was great.
that was probably the best part of the whole movie.
They figure out it's on the back of the Declaration. Sean Bean's like, well, I'm going to steal it. And then Ben's like, well, we can't do that.
So here's a really long plan to steal it ourselves.
To protect it.
Yeah.
And that's where we meet Abigail Chase.
Diane Kruger.
She was not great in this movie.
No, second one she's better.
Yeah.
I do still really
She took
like...
a couple weeks to practice.
I still really do like just their bantering in these films.
No, they have fine
Enjoy them.
chemistry.
Yeah, they have fine chemistry. I enjoy the banter.
There was a lot of telling women to shut up in this movie. I was surprised by that.
2004, simpler times.
Different simpler times.
Just after Friends.
I mean,
when you
how
can still do it.
many women are in this movie? Because there's her, and then there's an Urban Outfitters cashier.
Yeah, and the lady at the National Archives thrift store, which was just a Visa ad. A lot of ad placements in this movie.
Like when they went to Jersey Mike's and he had to like steal a foot long
Yeah, exactly.
cheesesteak but he had to wrap it in the Declaration of Independence.
They don't handle that Declaration of Independence with any fucking reverence after the initial scene where they handle it with reverence.
I was going to say...
Then everyone is like rubbing their face oils all over it.
The first scene where they have to like roll it out and like there's gloves and everyone's like... "Ooh," and then every other scene they're just whipping it out of the sheet and just tearing it open.
Well, they didn't have time then.
Yeah.
Apparently they had to like look for secret hidden messages like now.
It also kind of pissed me off. So he steals this. Abigail Chase is all mad. She gets kidnapped, and then he kidnaps her back to safety.
Yeah.
Just like the
And
Declaration.
Reverse
has to
kidnapping,
take her to Philadelphia and tie up his dad.
We made a couple big leaps there.
Yeah.
Then they're just like, we're gonna put lemon juice all over this because we have to see this map. And she's like, if anybody's gonna do this, it's gonna be me because I'm trained to handle documents like this. And like an hour ago, she's being kidnapped by this guy.
Yeah.
And
And now they're sharing a breath over it.
yeah, exactly.
But I do like the reasoning she's there because they're just like, you're free to go. And she's like, well, if you really didn't want me to come with you, you probably wouldn't have told me where you were going.
Yeah.
Did we want to talk about the heist at all?
I love heists.
His
You
dad's
love
house?
I mean, I do love heists. I thought it was a pretty lackluster heist.
He uses the Declaration of Independence to avoid getting shot.
Yeah. I mean, it had like good moments, but it was really like a heist of like a couple beats.
That's fair. But there are two heists going on because when he's like,
Well, I don't really consider Ian's heist a heist. That's not a heist. That's just
burglary.
like armed robbery.
yeah, that's fair. So both the first and second one like are in the Library of Congress for like decent amounts of this.
I mean, they were in the Library of Congress for like a minute when Riley's like, here's all these records, and then they shifted the scene out of it.
Yeah, I'm getting
This was
Yeah,
in
the other one spends a lot more time.
National
Yeah.
Archives. This was
that.
just,
I was getting that confused. California Public Schools.
yeah, I understand.
I do like how
Steal the
all
national-
I like how all of their security measures are just readily available for them to like look at.
Yeah, I don't know what the Library of Congress actually gives out, but I don't think it's like the security measures that protect the Declaration of Independence. I don't think they just have that on file. Even like if you have to look between 7 different files to piece it together, I don't think that's available.
Yeah.
I don't think the Library of Congress is telling you like, if you come in and you shine a green laser in this 1/4-inch little
Now,
dealy bob.
here's a question. What if they do? And all we have to do is go to the Library of Congress and we can do like
We can
a
heist
lot of
whatever we want.
crime.
Then the only thing holding us back is illiteracy.
Well, all right. I guess that's our first. On our next podcast, that's our first field trip.
Nick and Sean learn to read. This is going to be a sweet podcast.
I don't know that high level literacy is typically the best in for crime. Like,
We're not talking about crime. We're talking about heisting.
We're talking about good crime.
okay.
Yeah, book crime.
Book crime. Okay. You're right.
Oh, man.
We're gonna find treasures, guys.
Totally not related to book crime. But I was walking my dog the other day and I found a pile of Asian import porno DVDs on the side of the road.
And we're going to watch them right now.
Yeah. So I've got a new
It's a live
podcast
watch.
idea, guys.
Did you keep them?
I mean, are you asking if I'm just in possession of them?
Yes.
Because I don't intend on keeping them. These are like one and done.
Did you make Wallace carry them?
Yeah. I got little saddlebags that are bigger than him.
That way, when you get weird looks, like, yeah, my dog's a freak.
Don't kink shame my dog. It's okay, Wallace.
So, yeah,
you can
they
pop
steal the
whatever
deck-
weird boners you want.
They steal the Declaration of Independence. Abigail gets kidnapped by Sean Bean.
And then
There's-
unkidnapped by kidnapping.
Yeah, well, he saves her, and then they just don't take her back. Because they can't go back because they have his credit card information, which means they know who he is.
He'd set up some kind of weird room in his
Yeah, a clean
apartment
room in his
so
place.
that he could put lemons on the Declaration of Independence, but he can't go there now, so he has to go to his
They
dad's
can go
house in
back.
Philadelphia.
Why does his dad have so many fucking
His
lemons?
dad has like 43 lemons in the refrigerator.
Pre-cut.
Because
Also,
Patrick is
do
hosting a lot of lemon
Do any of
parties.
you keep lemons in your refrigerator? Is that where you store lemons?
This is the same guy that also just had like a grip of pizza sitting out on like some coffee table in like a sitting room
Yeah.
Still
of
warm.
his super nice East Coast home.
And he's going there because his father, played by
John Voight.
John Voight, apparently is in possession of the original copies of the Silence Dogood letters.
Is that a real thing? Has anybody ever looked that up?
Yeah, that's very real.
No, okay.
All of that's real.
To,
I'd be frankly shocked to find out that there are originals.
I mean, I'd be frankly shocked to find out there was a map on the back of the Declaration of Independence. If that's where our level of what shocks us is, Adam.
To be fair, there was never a map on the back of the Declaration.
What if that had just been like a daguerreotype porn? Just flipping those special spectacles.
Just Franklin porn.
Yeah, oh, God. Benjamin Franklin.
What? You know that guy
It's
was
like what-
into it. Like, that's a well-known fact.
Yeah.
It's like one of those pens where you turn it upside down and the bikini top floats off. But
There you go.
It's like you flip the lenses back and forth. And it's like, oh, girl, yeah, you naughty. Put that bodice on. Now take it off.
You just gotta flip the Declaration upside down.
The Declaration of Independence is like the original magic guy. But yeah, they go over to Patrick Gates' place
In Philadelphia.
in Philadelphia.
Where they eat pizza and then handle the...
Declaration of Independence. And they find a cipher key on the back.
Which they determine is why they need the Silence Dogood letters. The cipher key will give them the answer to the next clue.
I like
But
how
he had like photocopies in his apartment. But
Yeah.
then when Sean Bean solves the puzzle too, his friend just like pulls up the Silence Dogood website.
Yeah, they Yahoo'd it. Because it was 2004.
It's like, why didn't they just do that at Patrick Gates's house?
Yeah.
If it's just that easy, why is this happening?
Sean Bean does the whole thing. He's working on his pad, and he's like,
Oh,
why
that's
is
right.
Why is silence capitalized?"
That's right.
yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Keeps coming back to it.
Yeah.
It's like, why are these two letters capitalized? Because they're important?
Well, aw shucks, bud.
Because
Yeah.
they're names.
Yeah. So then later they Yahoo the.
I do want to say, I do really like Sean Bean's, like, head goon.
Yeah.
You know, not Vinnie Jones. The guy that's like, is that Vinnie Jones? Nah, it's not Vinnie Jones. It wasn't Vinnie Jones.
Just kind of realized that treasure maps are fucking bullshit.
Go
Well,
on.
it's fucking ridiculous. It's like, I'm going to hide this thing that's super important, but I'm going to also leave a dick ton of clues all over the place.
That's a good point, though. Treasure maps are fucking dumb.
But I'm also going to leave clues, and I'm going to make these clues like super figure-outable by people 200 years from now.
Where were we?
Okay,
so now they have to go to...
Silence do good letters.
Yeah, so they have to go and look at the letters, the actual letters, but they're all wanted by the Fed, so they hire some kid. They pay a kid to go in for $1 a letter.
This is my least favorite part. So
because you're racist?
No, the puzzle. No, the kid's cool. That kid fucking rules.
That kid's
man.
actually really cool.
That kid.
I have thoughts about another kid later in this podcast.
I hated that fucking tower time puzzle.
Well, because you needed to give Riley like one thing.
He also solved that puzzle with a bottle of water.
Did he?
Yes.
Because he took the $100 bill and he used it as a magnifying glass to look at the clock.
Jesus
And,
Christ. What was killing me, though, is Rachel brought it up, too, when we were watching it. She was like, so the clock tower casts a shadow, and what do they do if it's overcast or it's not the correct season? Good fucking point.
It must be good for just one day. And
You didn't take after this film and tell her to shut up?
I'm confident.
Shut up in your mouth.
I had not actually thought about that. I mean, I thought it was kind of a stupid gag, but I not actually thought.
The second she said it, I was like, oh, yeah, this wouldn't work most of the time.
Okay, but see, here's what bothered me about this puzzle is so at 2:00, the tower where the Liberty Bell was held will like cast a shadow over a specific brick that within it is the special like 3D glasses of
Yeah, the
Benjamin
red and blue.
Franklin. Yeah. But the thing is, once he gets on the roof and he's looking at it, there's a giant Mason symbol on it. So I'm like, has no one ever questioned that?
It's
like
in the top
nobody
right
ever
corner.
re-roofed that building.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nope. The Mason symbol's in the top right corner, so you know there's a secret inside.
That's how you know.
Yeah.
But also it's so...
Previously established with the Declaration of Independence.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, so then there's an extended chase sequence through like...
Oh, I forgot
Oh
about this
yeah,
scene.
I forgot about that scene.
Yeah, it was like
too.
just a Saturday market
just
kind of
just
thing.
a
Yeah.
normal. I was like going through Pike Place Market. Man.
Yeah.
Just she just dove behind a.
Butcher's.
But no, I do like the market scene, not Vinnie Jones, when Abigail's hiding behind like the fish vendor, like in the stall. She says she's hiding from her ex-husband, and the woman who's working the stall is like, get the guy to go. It's like, can I help you, sir? And he just looks at her and goes, shut up. All right, there you go. There's another one.
And then she says, "I can see why you left him."
Yeah.
That chase scene through Philadelphia, across the roof, and through the
Yeah, there were
cemetery.
all sorts of chases happening.
It was-
Yes,
it
they were all
wasn't-
split up.
It was just a weird segue. Like it didn't need to happen.
Well, it gave Sean Bean the Declaration.
It also firmly established him as like the villain.
Yeah.
Right,
And
I
then,
guess.
only an hour and 20 minutes into this movie, Ben gets arrested.
This is where Harvey Keitel starts to really become a firm
All right,
character.
Harvey Keitel's also in this movie. I forgot.
Yeah.
He plays Sadusky.
Sandusky.
Yeah.
Sandusky.
But
FBI
that's
agent.
like
Sandusky.
that's the point.
He's got his finger on the pulse
Like-
of crime.
like he
No,
he's
no.
he's introduced in DC at the heist, and then he's brought back in Philadelphia when they find out he's been at his dad's place. But like after this chase scene and Ben Gates is arrested, that's when he really gets to make a firm established character, and he does become critical character through the rest of the movie at that point.
And the sequel, too. I mean, kind of.
Well, in custody, they make a deal to get the Declaration back from Sean Bean by going to a naval ship, like on a tour.
Yeah, they basically combine forces.
He has to jump off a ship because Sean Bean's guys are in the water with scuba gear to get him away.
I've always wanted to have one of those, like, scuba missile things.
Yeah, those would be great.
Wouldn't that be cool?
That would be so much fun. As somebody who doesn't swim super well,
Would have
that
been-
would be very handy.
Would have been fantastic that time my kayak tipped over in
Absolutely.
Lake Washington.
Shout out to the people who rescued us that one time.
They gave me a ham sandwich.
It helped.
And this is where we're kind of we're finally in the final, like, 30 minutes of this film.
Blessedly.
They get to...
Yeah, they wrap it up pretty quick.
Yeah, they find out where the vault is underneath or within a mason's like
Under Trinity
grave
Church.
under
at
Trinity Church.
Broad Street.
And
Here,
Broadway
at the
and
wall.
Wall
Broadway
Street.
and Wall Street.
to
yeah.
hear and
Yeah.
And
the clues are dumb.
see, here's the thing where I think the second movie is better. Is there's an actual like cool dungeon.
Mm-hmm.
And this one, it's just like, here's an old elevator that Ben Franklin made.
Here's some shitty stairs.
Here's some shitty stairs.
Good luck, y'all.
Yeah, and then that dude just fucking falls to his death horribly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not Vinnie Jones.
Right.
That was fucking awesome.
Also,
That was the best part of the movie.
something that I
He didn't scream much.
something that I
Perfect opportunity for a Wilhelm scream.
I was gonna
Right?
say.
Sorry, Adam.
something that I hadn't picked up on, and it admittedly very stupidly hadn't picked up on in probably the dozen or so times I've seen this movie, is when they get into that vault and they're like, "Oh, that's a chandelier," and he hits his torch to it and like lights up that entire shaft. That whole thing was made of wood. Like I was sitting there looking at it, I was like, I don't know how I just glossed over this for the last 20 years.
Chandelier of wood. You're in a room full of wood that's old as fuck.
With no ventilation.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a little action where like all the stairs are falling apart and they have to jump on these elevators. At one point, Nic Cage has to choose between the girl and the Declaration.
Do you trust me?
Yeah.
Being directed is like, imagine you're somehow Indiana Jones and Han Solo at the same time,
To be
except
fair,
you're Nic Cage.
He did steal the kiss before that scene, so if she fell, he got what he
That scene was so dumb.
wanted. Yeah. When they're
Especially
getting- when
because
they're going to
the
Wait,
goon follow. Like, doesn't this ever happen to me? Like in that shitty Scottish accent.
Because you're a bad guy, dude.
Yeah.
Obviously.
You don't get smooches.
Yeah.
But yeah, like he drops her on that thing after previously seeing a dude fall on a piece of that wood
From
that
just stepping
falls
on,
to his
standing
death.
on it, yeah.
Do you trust me?
But they get down there, they find an empty chamber. There's a lamp there's a lantern in there. The Gateses spin some bullshit about how, fucking
Paul
Revere reference. So the next clue's in
Boston.
So they send them off and they leave them down there to either die or to come back for if the clue's not there.
The good guys.
The good guys, Riley, Ben, Patrick,
Abigail.
and Abigail. And then they're in the room. Then they find the actual treasure vault behind a hidden wall, but it's already been cleared out. And then that's when father and son have the holds like, you were right, son. Yeah, we didn't find it, but it means it's true, and it means we'll find it one day. And then
Yeah.
Kiss.
and then they realize like there's got to be a way out of here in case
Tender
of
father
like,
son.
cave-ins.
Yeah.
The first thing they would have done after
what I
digging
was
the
watching.
original shaft is dig a secondary shaft for air.
Yeah. And then
So we can get out of here.
they use the pipe to open a secret door to enter another vault that has everything. And here's my issue with this entire movie: cut out the first vault.
I really enjoyed this movie. I have for a long time. I will continue to enjoy it.
I really enjoyed my rewatch of it.
It definitely was overwritten.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you.
So they find the treasure. Then, yes, there's a staircase. There's another door that leads to out of another grave right next to the first one, which means if you just would have gone 2 slats over, you could have avoided all of that bullshit. But
That
there was no
wasn't
clue.
that wasn't in the clues.
I know,
Sean.
but it's my same issue with the game Skyrim. You go through an
The
annoying
back
ass
door is
dungeon.
over there.
You go through an annoying ass dungeon to get a treasure, and then there's just a back door.
Yeah. Or the Uncharted games.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm deep underground in untouched ruins. Why is somebody shooting at me?
But yeah, then they get their freedom by when they talk to Sandusky.
They get their freedom.
Well, yes.
They secure their freedom.
They secure their freedom.
They bargain it.
They bargain with Sandusky. And, while he's talking to Sandusky, Sandusky has a mason ring. So I'm like,
yeah.
and then Sandusky just happens to know all this shit about the...
It's just Sadusky.
Sadusky or
Sadusky.
There's no
Sadusky's
end.
worse. Let's do
Sandusky
Sandusky.
is definitely somebody else.
Okay.
Yeah, Sandusky
Who
is the
does
guy.
other things with his finger rings.
Oh no.
But either way, there's a pinky ring with a mason symbol on it. Harvey Keitel knows a bunch about the treasure. I'm like, why didn't you just listen to him in the first place then?
Well, obviously he doesn't want him to go looking for it.
Finds it anyway. Oh, and they decide they're going to give it to all the museums of the world because not one nation can hold this. Which, yeah, America would not let that happen.
No.
Oh, that's on account of
We're terrible.
we came from, a lot of us came from the British,
Yeah,
who
we
would
learned-
also not let that happen.
Yeah.
We learned from watching you, British dad.
He had originally estimated that the value of this entire thing was $10 billion, correct?
Yeah.
Well, yes, he Harvey Keitel was going to arrest him, and he was like, well, about 5 stories below you, there's about $10 billion worth of history. But how would you
quantify?
Yeah.
Even still, okay, so let's just call it $5 billion.
Sure.
What is 1% of 5 billion?
1% of 5 billion would
5
be
billion.
would be 50 million, I think.
50 million. So then Riley Poole walked away with $25 million, and all he got was that fucking spider.
Yeah.
And that's what he's bitching about in the second movie.
Which he wrecks in the second movie with
Oh, it
a
gets
cardboard cutout of him in it.
That's right.
It gets towed. He has his like sports car that he doesn't know how to drive. And, you know, Gates and Abigail have this like big mansion, and then she gives him a map. And he's like, what's it to? It's like, oh, you'll find out. And then he chases her in the house.
Clitoris.
Pussy.
I was going to say butt stuff, but
Ooh. They're not millennials.
So the clitoris is probably off the table too.
and that's National Treasure.
Hashtag just boomer things.
Adam, do you have a particular quote from this film?
The one that always has kind of stuck out to me as like a cagey kind of quote was when they were in the park right after stealing the Declaration and re-kidnapping Abigail Chase to safety. And she's like she's just doing a horrible job of acting and trying to steal the Declaration. I don't remember the exact quote, but it's the way he delivered it where he's like, I'm going to let you hold on to this. And he hands her the Declaration of Independence. He goes, if you'll shut up.
Mine is similar because it's when they're in the van going to where that happens. Like they're fighting. He's like, you're still shouting and starting to annoy.
Yeah.
I did like when he asked her if she was hungry in that scene.
Oh, yeah. My favorite was actually not about telling women to shut up. At the gala there at the thingy, Riley's talking to Ben over a headset, and Ben's just changing out of his like custodian clothes into a tuxedo, and Riley's like, how do you look? And Cage just looks in a mirror, he's like, not bad. And Riley's like, Mazel Tov. And it's like they're obviously doing separate readings, not connected to each other.
Yeah.
Because Cage is just like so serious, like, how do I look? Not bad. It's like, that is not what he's doing here. You're not picking up what he's laying down. Mazel Tov.
Also, I mean, for Josh, because he is a patron, and we'd be remiss if we didn't mention the quote, the last time this document was here, it was being signed. Because he quotes that a lot. So, good Cage, good movie, bad Cage, good movie, bad, good, bad, good, bad, good, bad. Perfect.
I know that I don't get to have a vote, so I'm just going to go first.
I mean, you get to vote on this part.
You still get to talk.
Medium Cage, good movie.
That's a cop-out.
I'm gonna okay, if I can't do medium, because I was also gonna do the inversion of that. I think this was a medium movie, good Cage.
You thought it was good Cage?
I thought that he played that character of like somewhat charismatic treasure hunter, you know, smart adventurer, whatever, like pretty well.
I think I misunderstood the assignment. This did not feel like... I thought he did a good job. I just did not feel like...
I mean,
this was like the cagiest role.
No, but like this is... I mean, also,
depends on your definition.
Look at the movies I listed off that were coming out around this time. This is kind of his return to... not serious roles, but he did adaptation 2 movies before this. Yeah. Matchstick Men was next. Lord of War is coming up. This is a little more in his... movie star era. I would say good Cage, good movie.
And it's also I think a Disney movie, right?
It is.
Yeah. So. Brockheimer production.
It was almost a Touchstone picture, which is when it goes slightly older, but they got it to PG.
Yeah. I mean, this will not be the last time I've seen this movie.
Same.
So
I'm with Peter. I thought it was good Cage, medium movie.
We've seen better heists. We've seen better puzzle solving, you know.
We've seen more concise stories.
Yeah.
Definitely that. We've definitely seen all of those things multiple times.
Yeah. I mean, it's a mid-seed.
Yeah.
If this thing were 20 minutes shorter, I think we've got a tight, fun fucking romp of a movie.
Yeah. If you could break it down and make it 30 minutes shorter, put it in at like an hour 45, you'd have me there.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's really the thing. It's long.
It is so long.
take a minute away from every scene, you'll easily lose half an hour from this movie.
Right. Like, I
And
mean,
you won't miss any content.
just the scene where the Declaration exchanges hands because I don't remember Abigail or Riley or whoever fucking falls down and it goes out. He gets like run over by a bus and shit. And then it just like the slow-mo of Sean Bean like walking up in a suit that's way oversized. Did you all notice that?
It's of an era. Riley Poole's pants were way oversized every time.
No, that reminds me. This is the thing that happens in every movie when someone almost gets hit by a semi that just blares its horn because someone like runs in the street. That semi never stops.
Nope, never.
No one ever stops to get out of the truck and be like, "Are you okay?" or "What the fuck?" They just keep going.
Those guys get paid by how quickly they get their shit delivered. Like,
Sean,
that's why it's always just like,
Sean Bean's.
she's fucking fine.
Sean Bean's costume designer in that movie was Jinko. Like, it was fucking ridiculous.
I was just thinking I would love to see a movie and just in the background, like super serious movie in the background on some street scene, see some asshole and some Jenkos, or see a juggalo just hanging out,
full stovepipes,
just an extra.
Also, does anyone else remember Urban Outfitters?
Oh yeah,
They still exist.
yeah,
Do they?
They're around.
Oh my god.
I mean, Hot Topic, those things, they're all around.
I haven't been to a mall in like a decade.
Where do you meet women?
I don't.
Cranked
Primal. We're
way
talking
up.
about Primal.
Yeah, speaking of a movie that is a lot shorter, but probably could have shaved about 20 minutes off of.
Primal.
It comes in at a crisp hour and 37,
37.
Yeah, that's right. And that's with credits.
Yeah.
which you gotta watch the credits.
Okay, wait.
Oh, of course. What about an after credit scene?
2019's Primal, which brings back all of the CG technology of a late 90s Jumanji.
The animal work in this movie is so fucking bad.
It's only
The white jag.
the white jag. Like, the monkeys are fine because they never...
They're fine.
They're fine, but they never stick on the monkeys long enough for it to matter.
Oh, except for the baby monkey. Do you remember the baby monkey's look?
Oh, yeah.
It looked
What
like my
killed-
nutsack.
What killed me was the fucking tapir that he's trying to get back in a cage. So you've got Nic Cage like shuffling around with his arms out, trying to like get this fucking fake animal into a cage.
And it's
terrible.
Like, the tapir just walks so nonchalantly. It's just like,
So,
Yes, this is a movie.
this movie is...
it fucking rocks.
I wish you all could have had the experience of seeing this for the first time.
I mean, I did have that experience.
With a rocket scientist.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Talk about that for a
Yeah,
second.
lay some groundwork.
So I watched this on Saturday, and I was at John's house.
For context, John is a rocket scientist
John is
Also, a cage dancer for the pod.
and an eventual guest.
John had asked me to come over to teach him how to bake bread, which takes a lot of time. And I was like, I've got some stuff going on. I've got school, and I've got to watch this movie. And he's like, well, we could watch that movie while we're baking bread. And listener, if I could give you any piece of advice, if you want to watch Primal for the first time, 20-minute installments is the way to do it.
Agreed.
20 minutes, take 15 minutes off, and come back and start over.
Nicolas Cage plays Frank Walsh. Famke Jensen plays Dr. Ellen Taylor. And everyone else is probably an extra from Burn
Oh,
Notice.
Kevin Durant. Come
Yeah,
on.
Kevin Durant.
Okay, he was excellent in this
was
movie.
great.
He was amazing in this movie.
He outcaged Cage.
That's
Yes.
true.
If
this
this-
is the
if this-
most phoned-in Cage performance I feel we've seen.
Oh, yeah. He didn't
Really?
give a shit on this one. This one was pretty
It might be
wild.
the least dialed Cage that we've seen.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I
this
feel like
film-
he tried to connect with other roles more. Like, even Left Behind, I feel like he tried to...
Oh, Left Behind, he was just a fucking ham sandwich the entire time.
Yeah. But in this movie, he's just like, giving us the lines with whatever reading he felt like at the moment.
So Cage had done a movie with this director before.
I don't think anybody
Nick Powell.
I don't think anybody
He
directed
did
this.
the movie Outcast, which I mentioned earlier,
yeah,
with
yeah.
Hayden Christensen, and they felt that through the production process, they didn't get enough like leeway to be who they wanted to be. So this was their ability to be who they wanted to be, much like Dog Eat Dog was supposed to be their big one after Dying of the Light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So both of those failed.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see what Cage was trying to do. I just think it could have used a little extra, like, supervision.
So
Just to keep him on track.
in this film, Nic Cage plays not a big game hunter, just
He's an exotic game hunter.
exotic game hunter, like
But not for killing.
not
Yeah,
for
no.
killing. He captures them and then sells them to zoos all over the world.
He's an unlicensed animal capturist.
Yes. And
That's like being a hydroceramic engineer if you're a dishwasher.
and he's not good at it. He's in his blind at the beginning of the film. There's a poorly CG'd Jag who goes for the bait, which like tears his blind out of the thing, and he has to like knife fight with the CG Panther with the dart he was going to shoot it with.
Yeah, his knockout syringe.
He falls into his own pit.
Yeah. Then he takes all his captured animals to a ship that's going to get him to Mexico because they're in Brazil.
Yeah, they were in Brazil
yeah,
where everybody was
supposedly.
speaking Spanish.
That bugged me too.
It bugged a lot of people on the internet as well.
Yeah. They
Also,
don't fucking
this
speak
is-
Spanish there.
To be fair, this is early enough in the movie that people probably still cared. It wasn't long after this where people are like,
So-
fuck it.
He takes the animals and the Jag, who at this point is
White Jag.
the white Jag, who is the biggest catch
One
in his
in a
life.
million.
They get him to the ship. U.S. Marshals show up with a prisoner on the ship, and then the whole like white Jag story arc fades away until it's necessary for a final conflict.
But isn't Kevin
They-
Durant kind of the white jag?
He's the white Jag of my heart.
You could have cut out that entire story arc, and it would have made no difference.
No, it gave him like the big
Have you
thing
been waiting
the
on that
ship.
one?
Hot off the presses, baby.
I mean, the only thing it really gives him is an excuse to use a fucking blowgun in the final scene. But other than that, like, none of that is certain. Like, the actual story of this movie, none of it is served by him. The whole animal subplot.
Well, if it didn't have the animal subplot, why would he be on the boat?
You two are city kids, but you and I are country folk.
So we understand these things.
So
Animal
I assume
trappings.
at some point you've hunted.
Yeah. Not very effectively. I have very bad ADHD.
That's
I
fine.
gave that up real
That's
quick.
fine, but I'm guessing while you were trying to hunt, you weren't smoking a fucking cigar
Thank you. That bugged the shit out of me.
and just like eating crackers out of a coffee can.
And just being loud,
He
yeah.
had like gin, a cigar, crackers. He's just swearing and
Like
talking on his phone.
The first
All of these things seem to work for him.
the
though.
first minute of that movie, I was like, this is just some bullshit.
Like,
For all of the bad that was in this movie, I really enjoyed the way that it was shot. The way it was shot, they tended to like station a lot of props in front, and it gave it this weird like faux 3D feeling. Really, for me, the one redeeming quality, because it felt like that was the only intentional thing that they were really doing.
There was one thing that carried through the whole movie. That fucking soda can in front of the camera.
Did anybody else actually notice that?
No, I was so distracted by how washed out the color palette was for this movie. Like, I could not get over it. It wasn't even washed out in a way that it was like lights are blowing things out. It was just dull.
Yeah,
They just
dull.
Everything's
every
khaki.
like
Yeah.
the
Cream and gray.
vast majority of scenes, especially ones that would have had any kind of like real action, the actors would have been staged behind furniture and things like that, so they were like really away from the camera, so it gave this like really solid depth.
My favorite part of actually what you're talking about is all the fight scenes that happen like behind barrels and things where you don't see any action.
oh yeah. Well, the one actual fight scene with
I love it when they position.
I'll just fuck off then.
no, like the
No,
one,
I mean like
the one-
actually.
the one real fight scene between Nicolas Cage and Kevin Durant is just Nic Cage is not trying at all.
That was
It's
so
not like he's
lame.
fighting.
Neither is Kevin Durant either. It's like, okay, he shot me from this direction. I'll just spray bullets Reload.
Oh no, I'm talking about their actual like fight.
Oh, at the end.
Okay.
Like when they're like fisticuffs, and it's just like Kevin Durant's like putting in the effort to like make it look like he's fighting, and Nic Cage is just like buckling knees before anything even comes close to him, and he's just like, I don't want to be here. We're gonna get this in one shot. And we're gonna be done.
To be fair, by that time, Nic Cage had been shot in the leg.
So Kevin Durant's
I
character,
don't know the last
Loeffler,
time you got shot in the leg.
not recently, escapes and is now on the ship.
His escape scene was great.
His escape scene was great.
Pretty good.
Is escaped, let the animals loose, stole some poisonous snakes, and now is systematically taking out all the U.S. Marshals and taking everyone out
It's just
to
snakes on
reclaim
the boat.
the ship. It is snakes on a boat.
It was. I didn't think about that. It was snakes on a boat.
And Femke
Only
Janssen
by
is
technicality of there were 2 snakes.
and Femke Janssen
If
is
there had been
there.
any fewer snakes, it would be snake on a boat.
Femke
I would
Janssen.
watch that.
Femke Janssen is there solely to be a woman. Like she's supposedly a doctor because of dude's seizures, which is how he gets out of prison by faking a seizure.
And why
This is
did it
another
fly
movie in
down?
which Nic Cage tells women to shut up a lot.
Yeah. And then they like need to give her more reason to be there, so they poison the ship's captain and the worst kid we've seen in a movie. In a Nick Cage
Oh,
movie.
I didn't think Rafi was the worst kid.
He was terrible.
Why were you so upset with Rafi?
So here's
He's
like,
a
that
terrible
was- that
actor.
okay, he's like 9.
kid. So,
this was
Considering the
your
budget
bad
for this
takeaway
movie,
from
I'm pretty sure they
this.
got a
But
pretty
the budget
good
was
kid.
18 million. It made 288,000.
yeah, it's terrible. Thank you for doing your research. That
No,
was
no,
good.
but not only is he a terrible actor, like in the climax when there's a shootout and fucking Loeffler's got the kid by the hair, and then he has to like start shooting people. There's like an extended like 45-second like shootout, and Rafi is just standing there.
He's in shock. His dad's dying.
Because he's been bit by one of the snakes.
So what killed
On
me
a
about
boat. Snakes on a
snakes
boat.
on a boat? What killed me about Rafi wasn't anything. Like his dialogue sucks. It's fine. He's a
Oh
kid.
yeah, no,
like
it's terrible.
Nic Cage is a drunk dude on a boat talking to a kid. Like he's gonna be a dick. It's fine. I hated his costuming so fucking much. It's
You
like,
wish he could have afforded better clothes.
no, I wish that they had made him not look like if
He's
someone said, draw a picture of a kid. he looks like Ness from Mother Earthbound.
Earthbound.
You know, yeah.
I'm not gonna
They put the ball cap and the striped shirt on him, and that's it.
I'm not gonna click on this profile picture because this profile picture literally of
Are you
Jeremy
online dating right now?
Jeremy Nazario, the kid who played Rafi. I'm not going to click on the photo because this photo definitely looks like it was taken during this movie.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be sad that this is his only credit.
Rafi's such a fucking piece of shit. But he's a kid. Like, that's what kids do.
Bad kid.
They're morons.
Why didn't Femke Janssen just grab him by his scruff and tell him to sit the fuck down?
Because she didn't have enough spine to do that in this movie. She was worthless.
Her character was really limited. I have to assume just for the storyline to let Nic Cage's Frank Walsh,
Who is a nothing character.
who was a nothing character.
Like, this is...
But like at some point you gotta like
She provides...
in his best moments when he finally like decided to stop being a shithead and do something, he basically became like Kevin Costner in a baseball movie.
No, just... So I know I have a bit of a love affair with Red Rock West.
Jean Grey. No.
Red Rock West.
Red Rock West. Where it's just like Nic Cage plays a dude who's now in a shitty situation and he has to like generic tough guy his way out of it. And that's what this movie is trying to be and fails on every level. He is nothing in this film. This is the only time I've seen him in a movie where I'm just like, I don't buy any of this. You don't buy any of this. And it's frustrating because this is right at that kind of start. You know, we had Joe, Color Out of Space. There's like, this is getting to that third wave Cage, and this is just awful.
I think the movie just didn't do a super good job of selling us what he is. He's just, I mean, kind of a shit heel, and I've known plenty of people just like him, and I can look at him and be
Why
like,
are you looking at me?
Because I don't know. I think there's a character there. I think the movie didn't really do us any favors in getting it to us.
This
but
whole movie was just like, this is a long episode of Burn Notice. This is a USA movie.
So
USA
actually,
Network movie.
Actually, one of my biggest issues with this movie was feeling like the idea had a lot of legs. The script was
How many legs?
fucking garbage.
White Jack's got
But
4.
like, okay, you think of this as like
At least 6.
you think of this as like a late 80s, early 90s Schwarzenegger film, it would have been awesome. There was a lot of potential for this, and they just fucked off with
Well,
it.
I keep forgetting that there's a white jag in this film, and the writers do too.
No, it shows up every time they need some kind of
It's
to
just
remind
diversion
you, to remind you that the white jag's in this film.
Well, no, to like, keep Nic Cage's like attention split.
I think the big thing for me is that, like, in a Schwarzenegger version of this movie in 1995, he would have been a hero character even if he's a flawed hero.
Yeah.
And Nic Cage's character in interviews, he was like, "No, I play a bad guy. Like, I'm a pretty shitty guy. Like,
Yeah.
I'm kind of a poacher, but not quite, but I'm still pretty bad." It's like he's designed to be unlikable and performed as unlikable.
Yeah. And I think
I give
it's
him
like,
credit for that.
I
I just think it was poorly written in that way.
Agreed.
And also
This could have been fun.
But to Sean's point, the main storyline was this military assassin that defects, breaks out of a cage on a boat. Like, they set it up that this white jag, this super rare animal, is going to be an integral part of the story. That had nothing to do with it.
Yeah. It's really just there to kill the guy at the end of the film.
Where I felt like I was left short with this movie was the Loeffler character, like that origin story would be really interesting. The Frank Walsh character, also really, really interesting. And they didn't really give us either one of those.
No.
They just sort of were like, here's 2 characters. We're going to give you sort of a brief synopsis of how they're terrible. And then they have to fight on a boat. I do feel like there's a lot of potential in this script, but this was meant to be a quick 97-minute movie. Let's make some money. They didn't. It turns out they lost a lot of money. I thought that Kevin Durant did a fantastic job of playing Loeffler. He was very convincing as like a fucked up assassin that did not give a shit. He just wanted to get back to like the South American jungle and assassinate people. That felt that he did a great job.
Go with what you
do
know.
what you love and you never work it day in your life.
I would okay.
I just love killing people in South Africa or South America.
He was spectacular. Really stand by his performance in that. I would have liked to have learned more about that character. Frank Walsh actually is an interesting character to me, and they just sort of made him like a cheap dime store bad guy that was like, oh, I've got some animals. I gotta get him to Mexico or wherever he was going.
Gotta get him to Mexico.
Yeah. And then fucking Jean Grey.
Jen Kajanskin.
Yeah. Like her weird ass little flip at the end was so predictable and stupid.
I want to talk about her at the end when Nic Cage is like, I need you to go down and draw him out. So go down to the galley and like make a bunch of noise. Okay, how will I know where you are? You won't. You've just got to trust me.
Yeah, going back to National Treasure.
And then it's like,
you gotta
okay.
trust me when I'm about to throw you onto a giant wooden platform to your death.
But it's not like count to 300 and start. It's just like, I don't know, fucking get out there and make some noise and pray to God that I'm in a good spot.
Again, in terms of poor editing, he puts Scuddy in his room. Scuddy being the engineer of the ship.
I liked that character
I like
a lot.
Scuddy.
I liked that character a
But
lot.
like so, but then
that
like,
dude was just smoking cigarettes in a diesel room.
when Nic Cage finally decides he's gonna hunt.
I'll tell you this, that's okay. Because diesel's actually only flammable when it's pressurized, like atomized. You could throw a cigarette in just like a open bucket of diesel and it wouldn't like
Diesel facts.
So, but
You
when
don't
Fire
smoke
starters.
the right cigarettes.
when Nic Cage is going to hunt, finally goes decide
Flares?
he's gonna go on the hunt for Durant. He goes into his cabin, pulls out like a compound like bow. And I'm like, where the fuck has that been this whole movie? Also, I see why you're not allowed to have guns on ships. Because everyone dies real dumbly in this film.
Yeah,
Like, the U.S. Marshals are terrible in this movie.
Cops are bad.
Cops are bad.
to be fair, they are only U.S. Marshals.
I do
That's
have
Adjacent people are bad.
it's like
too.
I'm in water and I need help.
I do have
it's
questions.
Coast Guard.
I do have questions about like the guy leading the U.S. Marshals after like Durant's escaped and they've like had a few failed attempts at capturing him. It's like, until we capture him, I'm the captain. Pretty sure that's not how captaining works. And then
especially in like non-American
international waters. And then Walsh is just like, well, I don't have to do what you say. It's like, well, if you don't, I'm going to bring you up on treason or whatever else mutiny or whatever else I can. I'm like, again, you're not the captain. This isn't your ship.
He's not part of the crew.
And he's not part of the crew.
I did look up the writer of this script, and
You did more work than I did.
I can't, off the top of my head, name any of his other movies. He has written quite a few, and they're all kind of
This?
about this. Yeah.
Is he a white jag?
White jag
Just
off,
a white
maybe.
jag on a typewriter writing stories. It's like,
I just had my
Cigar.
best.
There's gonna be a
His-
fucking MacGuffin in this
his-
movie, and it's a
His
white
name is
jag.
his name is Hunter Jag. He's white, and he played lacrosse at Duke.
I just had my best joke in this whole podcast, and you all talked over it.
You can do it now.
No, it's
No,
not
it's-
worth
the
it.
moment's gone.
You can
move
save
on.
it. Save it for next time.
I say he was a white jag off.
Oh. That
All
was
right,
your
thank
best joke? You claimed that as your top achievement?
Call the shot.
Yeah.
He's like, he plays for outfield. It's a grounder to third.
All right. So good Cage, good movie. Bad Cage, bad Cage, bad movie is my.
Couldn't even get through the whole thing.
No. just reuse what I used
Okay,
before.
I'm gonna go first. It was Bad Cage and Bad Movie, and the thing is, like,
I'm pretty sure I went first.
I would never, ever recommend anybody watch it, but I really enjoyed my time with it.
I say bad Cage, bad movie, and I wouldn't change a thing.
Yeah, I'm fully with you guys. I think this was a enjoyable, stupid fucking waste of time.
Yeah.
I watched it on double speed, and it was fantastic.
I love myself every
Morning.
USA original show. And that's what this movie is. It's an episode of Burn Notice. It's an episode of Monk. It's an episode of Psych. And I love it for that, but it is awful. And it, probably, I'm putting this in one of the worst Cage performances of this podcast.
Going back, I probably hadn't watched National Treasure for a couple years, which is rare for me because I watch it all the time.
You have that tattoo.
And yep, Nic Cage.
But you can't see it. It's hidden on his back.
You gotta rub him with lemons.
Full back piece of him holding a fucking torch. I thought, like, I really thought I was going to go into this being like, okay, Primal's going to be the one for me that I think should go through. Oh, it sucked. I love it, but it sucked.
I love scenes of it. As a whole, though, I fucking needed to stop a lot. Oh, yeah. Does anyone have a quote for this film?
I have one.
All
I
right.
have quotes.
I have one as well.
I don't know. I want to do it justice, and I don't think I'm going to be able to. Rafi was asking about Nic Cage's pet parrot because that was a weird Aladdin thing going on. And he was like, "Oh yeah, he's a real regular Einstein."
Oh, that was mine. That's right, regular Einstein.
It was a little lispier than that.
Yeah.
Einstein.
like
That's because he was just always
like,
drunk.
John and I had to pause the movie at that point, and we were only like 10 minutes in.
My other one was when they're on the ship and after Durant gets out and he starts like breaking shit. Nic Cage starts turning on faucets and no water's coming out. And he's like calling, like, there's no water. Well, how do you know? I know how a fucking faucet works, you damn federal clown.
What'd you have, Nick?
Mine was the water thing.
Oh, sorry, Nick.
No, it's okay. I could also just go with, touch my cat, I'll blow your head off.
That was mine.
Yeah, great.
So we just did a little steal around.
Yeah.
Okay, so how about we just do this all again?
Yeah, exactly.
And Adam just doesn't get a quote.
That's yep. There we go. Come on, guys.
All right, so what moves forward?
Primal.
You're wrong.
No,
And it's fucking National Treasure.
it is not.
It
I'm
is
not going to
100%
sit through
National
2
Treasure.
hours and 15 minutes of National Treasure again.
It's a more fun film. No.
It's not a
Primal's-
more fun film. It is a longer film, and it is a film
Primal
that...
is bad.
Yeah, and it's enjoyably
It
bad.
is not. Nick Cage is terrible in this film. And this is a podcast about the best Nick Cage film, and this is his worst performance. It's
But-
not Primal.
National Treasure is forgettably Nicolas Cage.
I don't care. It's gotta be.
It's not. You've got a movie that moves at a better clip It has more
It's
Nicolas
not
Cage
entertaining
energy.
for that clip.
It's entertaining for what it is. I found more entertainment from watching this movie than I will ever find from watching National Treasure. And National Treasure was fine. Okay, here's how I approach it. I've got 2 movies, and I've got a buddy coming over, and we're going to have a couple beers and watch a movie. Am I going to say, hey man, want to sit down for 2 hours and 15 fucking minutes holding hands and watching National Treasure?
We're gonna have to
Or
cut some of this.
do you want to sit
While
down
you put magnets
for
in Pete's belly button?
97 minutes, hold hands, and watch Primal, which is fucking weird as shit. And we're going to have a lot more fun.
I
digging
didn't have,
into it.
I didn't have more fun with that.
That's because you watched it alone.
You need someone to hold a hand with.
And on the next round, we can hold hands while we watch it together.
I would enjoy that, but we're not watching Primal again.
Well, we're not watching National Treasure, so I guess we skip this round.
No, I think this is the first time we'll ever have to go to a tiebreaker.
I'm not prepared for this shit.
Yeah, well, it's fucking on you, buddy.
We'll do 60 seconds each, arguing our case.
To me.
Uninterrupted, so you can't trump it. You can't fucking talk over it.
I fucking don't.
Yeah, okay. And then Peter will decide who goes on.
Prepare your case. Go.
All right. So I think Primal should win because it's the more just, I don't know, unconventional character. He's got more just like wacky line delivery. You get to see Nicolas Cage just work against his normal like film repertoire, and he says things about fucking faucets.
Sean, proceed.
Nic Cage sleeps his way through Primal. It's not a good performance. It's not a good Nic Cage role. And ultimately, we're here to figure out what the best Nic Cage movie is. And it's National Treasure beats Primal. Primal forgets its own subplot. He's not even the main character. And yeah, he plays off type, but it's not an interesting type. And he clearly doesn't care about the role. It needs to be National Treasure.
Okay, I want to rebuttal real quick.
What? No, you can't change the rules.
No, every debate has rebuttals. And I'm just going to say, really quickly, you didn't even talk about your movie. You spent your time talking about Primal. It's obviously the more talkable movie. You can't even defend National Treasure because you're too busy talking about Primal.
I was talking about how
You talked about Primal.
All right, cross
You
Sean.
literally didn't say anything about National Treasure.
I said it was the better role. Yes, okay, yes, it's longer, but it's not worse because it's longer.
But you're going to have to watch it again, and it's going to go against The Rock. Save yourself some time in the future.
Peter,
My ruling, National Treasure.
thank you.
Sorry, Nick.
This is a poor choice.
I don't disagree with you, and I think both of these are set up for massive failure against The Rock, but I liked his effort more in National Treasure. I think Primal ultimately is a movie that I think could have been a TV episode, and I would have been fine with that. Like, give me that in 40 minutes, and I'm fucking on, but yeah.
You're all going to regret this. I'm just going to vote for Primal next time anyways. Because I'm a bad loser.
I love a good poor sport.
Yeah.
So is Kevin Durant.
You know, it's not like I bring up the fact that I have to watch Army of One every episode.
Yeah. Oh,
True,
there
yeah.
it is. Got it in this time.
Yeah, right at the end.
I was afraid you weren't going to mention that. Still a more cagey movie, just like Primal. A bad movie can be good.
It's the cost
Two
of your
wrongs
son.
can make a right.
No.
Just fucking kiss me, big boy.
That's just not this film.
All right.
National Treasure is the better movie. If that's the one I'm suggesting to people, it's National Treasure.
I disagree. I've watched them both 3 times and this week. And
Why?
I'm going to continue to watch Primal because it is honestly, it's just a bad movie fun. It's a good movie to watch when you want to watch a bad movie. And it's got Nicolas Cage. And
It does.
he's surly. He gives like a shit performance. And honestly, I find that enjoyable.
I expect more from Cage. At this point,
You're not
honestly
watching Nicolas Cage
What's
movies.
that?
I am though. That's kind of the whole point of this.
It's like that. It was like that restaurant in St. Louis where their waiters are meant to be rude to you.
Oh God, yeah, we saw a place like that in Vegas
Yeah.
too. It's like
That's it.
Johnny Dickholes or something.
Yeah, Johnny.
Good old Johnny Dickholes.
He was trained by that wait staff.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways,
Well, for everyone here at Johnny Dickholes, please rate, review, and subscribe.
thank you guys for having me again. This was a lot of fun.
Oh, you're still here?
Yeah, welcome back, Adam.
Jesus Christ.
Love you, Adam. Thank you for coming.
I had a really good time. Thank you for letting me have an excuse to watch that fucking movie.
Yeah, you can also support us on Patreon at patreon.com/cagematch. Also, special thanks to all of our Sparkle buddies, Josh, Sean, Josie, Rico, Matt, and Adam. And for our cage dancers, Ira and John. Thank you for your support. We're on Reddit if you want to chat with us or yell at us for our dumb shit at Cage Match Pod. Yep.
Whoever keeps thumbs downing our stuff on Reddit, fuck off.
Or keep it up.
Yeah, no, I like the conflict.
And I've got all these fucking exotic animals I bought for apparently no goddamn reason.
We'll
If
give you
anybody
1%.
wants them, you can have them. Thought it was going to be a good season 2 bit. Just saying.
Apparently, Vin Diesel has recruited Zachary Levi into his gang of people who don't like The Rock.
Oh, that's great. I hope he's out there, like, I don't know, practicing, like, gang moves, like, sweet, like,
What's a gang move?
you know, like, dance moves on the pickup basketball court.
It's
Yeah,
just-
it's just West Side Story shit.
What was the name of the kid in the other movie? Something Gomez?
Yeah, Hunter Gomez.
Hunter Gomez.
There we go.
Oh, man.
Man, that's a name Republicans would hate.
Hunter Gomez?
Hunter Gomez.
Ooh, yeah.
It's their two least favorite things.
Plays
You better not own a laptop.
plays the Mexican form of lacrosse. Oh
Highlight?
God, I hope.
The most dangerous game of all.
Hey, that can't go on. That can't go on. That finished.
Peter's still recording. Who knows what he's going to find? All gold.